Some birds just can't get a grip, on tree bark, that is. They don't have the right equipment, and they don't need different equipment, except when they want the bark butter we smear on tree trunks for the birds. They don't necessarily want the beetle larvae that the tree-gripping birds are hunting. A step up from the klutzy ice skaters are the birds that can stick every landing, but that walk on the trunk only a little, or maybe not at all. The titmice and Carolina wrens like some meat even in winter, but they do eat lots of seeds, nuts, and berries, so they don't depend on the beetle larvae that the tree grippers find under the bark. After the gymnasts who can stick every landing, we come to the true tree grippers, starting with woodpeckers, of course. After all, that's what they do for a living, hang out on vertical trunks pounding the living daylights out of them. A woodpecker, though, must always face upwards. If it wants to go down a tree trunk, it has to back into the parking space. Nuthatches and brown creepers, on the other hand, can scamper around on trunks every which way. The nuthatches can skitter in 5 directions at once like a herky-jerky wind-up toy. That agility makes it easy for them to scoot around flipping tree bark over in search of larvae. So the nuthatch is your basic Fred Astaire, tap dancing all over that tree. The brown creeper is slightly less agile, but it can motor, usually upwards, but occasionally downwards. The birds that can't grip tree bark have flat feet, good for hopping. The tree grippers have arched feet. You could just about shoot a pea between this bird's foot and the bark. Their scimitar claws look like they could puncture the Goodyear blimp, but actually the pronounced curve means that they don't so much puncture the bark as hook around its edges, which is why they move as jerky as the Keystone Cops. They're not walking by putting one foot in front of the other the way mammals do. They hop, hooking their claws around the bark with every jump. It doesn't even seem possible that they could move so fast when they have to find new claw holes with every jerk forward. But the experts insist that that's what they're doing. Next thing you know, scientists will be trying to convince us that matter consists of subatomic particles too tiny to see. But believe it, about the claw holes, I mean. When a tree gripper stops, you can see how it grips the bark. You can believe the part about the subatomic particles too if you want to, but you can't see that. The brown creeper has a foot with toes like a tarantula's legs, and it gets stability from a back toe that could support Cleveland. It's a mountain climber's boot on a whisper of a bird. The woodpeckers have 2 front toes and 2 backward-facing toes for support, and they're not wispy little cardinal toes. No, these look like steel girders encased in leather. You would know just by looking at the nuthatch's big back toe that it's a tree hugger. And speaking of tree huggers, they really do hug trees. Their short legs let them snug their bodies up against the trunk to minimize wobbling. To that end, woodpeckers and creepers have stiff tails, which create the third point of a triangle: its feet, its body, and its tail. Voila! Stability. They can get a grip.